the demand for innovation skills has never been higher than it is today. We've got the World Economic Forum saying it's a top 10 skill for 2025. It is generally the #1 requirement in almost every job that is posted these days. It's been established in a number of reports that it really is a critical skill to address the urgent sort of climate challenges that we're facing as well. So that's all well and good, but none of those things really define what they mean by innovation skills. They just know that they need to have it, don't know what it is, but they know they're definitely going to need it. So we've got very little consensus as to what the ideal innovation skills actually are. And we've certainly no idea what level of competency we actually require. Some excellent progress has been made towards the professionalization of innovation, if you like, as a management discipline. And there are some models out there that outline the experience, the attributes and the traits that these innovation experts, the innovation consultants, if you like, have to demonstrate. And there's programs coming out of Sweden, the US, all over the place, RISE, ISPIM, IAOIP, 6Eyes, IKE, and so on. However, these professionalization models tend to define the gold standard for innovators. And in some ways, that they can be quite constraining because they're only worried about the top level of competency. They're very good for providing evidence that the claims of expertise that are cited by these individuals are in fact justifiable, but it leaves a problem if you're not looking to be an innovation expert. On the organizational side, we've got ISO 56000, that suite of international standards that many of us on this are involved in, and other models like the EFQM, the European Foundation for Quality Management as well. And these provide guidance on innovation management best practice at the organizational level. And they're allowing companies of all types to implement effective and efficient approaches to innovation. And as more and more organizations from all these different sectors and economies look to innovate, the demand for those who can effectively deliver innovation is growing. However, and it is a big however, most organizations, especially SMEs and those maybe in developing countries, can't afford or don't actually need a full-time innovation expert on the payroll. These organizations still need to develop, acquire, learn specific innovation skills, but just the ones that best suit their current needs and their aspirations. And the lack of clarity about what those things are makes it a really frustrating and quite a risky activity as well. So to address this and to support those accreditation programs for innovation professionals, there's now work underway to develop a new international innovation competency framework. I'm leading a global project with the support of academia, industry, standards bodies, and ISO itself to define what good looks like for individuals and for teams. And the purpose of this framework is to provide guidance for the individuals, not organizations, but individuals, and helping them to improve their skills within the context of an organization or a team, and then providing very clear definitions of what's being expected from them. Ultimately, the aim is for this to transition into an ISO standard that's going to sit as part of the ISO 56000 suite, but that's some way down the line. The new standard is going to support professionalization, as I said, but it will primarily focus on building global acceptance that effective innovation, as outlined in ISO, is an achievable target for organizations of all sizes, all sectors, and in all economies. Like the ISO standards, this competency framework is not about ideation. It's not about generating ideas. Ideation skills will certainly be part of it, but a competency framework needs to be so much broader than that. What the framework has got to do is identify the full range of skills and competency levels required by an individual operating as part of a team and seeking to develop and deliver an effective and sustainable approach to innovation through leadership, organizational structures, culture, context, support, and participation as well. The new competency framework, when it's available, will complement and inform international government, education, and support agency programs that are designed to increase innovation, job roles, recruitment needs, training, personal development programs, the development of learning materials to support those programs, qualifications and frameworks, continuous professional development programs, and also personal certification schemes, and even down into universities and school curricula as well. It's also going to allow for skills gap analysis to be done at individual team and organization level, and so that we can then close those gaps as well, so we can assess team competency. I mean, I'm absolutely delighted to have been asked to lead this global project. So there are some people on that I haven't spoken to before on the call, so I'll give you a bit of my background. I've been working in digital transformation, wasn't called that, for over 25 years. And the last 10 years have really been focused on innovation within new and established businesses. I'm a member of the ISO Technical Committee for Innovation Management, part of the National Standards Authority of Ireland Mirror Committee. I was involved in the validation of EFQM's Innovation Lenses model, chair of Innovate Ireland, and also a 6 Eyes certified practitioner as well. My day job, when I have time for it, is managing partner of Celcio. And what we're doing is helping organizations of all sizes to set a very clear strategy for innovation and then develop the skills, capability, and confidence to execute that strategy. And all of that is supported by our software platform, our innovation management system, which is also fully aligned to all aspects of 56002. For the last few years, I've been working closely with Ulster University Business School. Shirley Davies, a regular on these calls, because we developed our own framework for innovation skills, something called FISC. And that industry academic collaboration is going to continue because Shirley, Mike from Ulster are going to provide academic input and oversight into this project as it develops as well. So the development of an international standard follows a really well-proven structured approach. This initial phase isn't going to get into that. What we're going to do first is develop a candidate framework, which will then be used as an input into the ISO process. And that candidate framework is going to be a valuable asset in its own right. And it's going to be published in due course. And to get there, we're going to have 4 streams of activity, or there already are 4 streams of activity. We're going to have a number of workshops. Some workshops are done, some have been arranged, some are still to be determined. Because what we have to do is we have to ensure that we capture the needs of everybody, not just the innovation professionals, certainly not just the innovation professionals in Europe, UK, Sweden, Ireland, and so on. They have to represent the global needs. So if anyone does have suggestions of groups that might be happy to facilitate a 1 to 2 hour workshop on this, then please let me know. And I can sort of brief you on how to run those. So that's stream 1, it's workshops, it's information gathering. Aside from the industry input, as I said, we're working with Ulster University to undertake a systematic literature review. If the model is going to have credibility, then it has to be aligned to and support academic views on best practice. And that alignment is going to allow us to ensure that the framework is useful for students, not just in universities, but also into schools. And my vision is for future generation workforce to leave school or university with qualifications that are aligned to this framework, and for employers to understand what that actually means and the value that that can bring. So as I said, I'm working with the university already, and we will be creating and publishing new research papers as an output from this project, aside from the framework itself. Stream 3 is what the university referred to as grey research. We know that innovation is a confusing, overhyped area, and there are a lot of existing models, commercial tools that might or might not address some of the areas that the framework needs to deal with. If anybody would like to talk to me about their model, but don't want to necessarily share it in an open forum, then very happy to put NDAs in place, non-disclosure agreements, so we can talk openly and then agree what might be able to be taken forward into the overall structure, the overall framework. The final stream is to look at models from other sectors, other disciplines that might maybe suggest a sensible and proven structure for a competency framework. This is not the first competency framework. And I don't want to be reinventing the wheel in terms of what that structure could look like when other things have already got these in place and they've got easy to navigate models already in existence. So the process is that we're running these 4 streams in parallel, and we're going to capture the outputs in this huge data repository of stuff. So this stuff will be suggestions for potential skills to include, definitions, competency levels, persona, use cases, any other useful reference that might be of value. So the repository will contain views, information, and insights that we've captured through those various approaches. In its rawest format, it's also going to contain things that don't quite fit. It's going to contain a lot of comments, suggestions, and a certain amount of duplication as well. So this repository is going to be refined into an initial draft, a prototype, not even a version 1, a prototype of a competency framework. And then we're going to take it through an iterative review and refinement process. How we do that is yet to be fully determined, but we're looking to make that an online process and set it up so that people can dip in. If they've got half an hour to spend, they can do some work, leave it, come back to it if they have another time. So it's not part of the ISO process, so it doesn't have to follow those procedures. And as such, it's not going to be a review by committee, not at this stage anyway. That'll change later on when we get into ISO, but we want to make this approachable and for people who have views, contributions to just be able to dip in and make their contribution. Once we've done that and we've reached the point where we have a good candidate framework, then two things are going to happen. Firstly, we're going to look to make that candidate framework available, certainly to the people that have contributed, just as a point of reference, really. And secondly, it will be used as an input into the ISO new work item process to start that formal process of a transition to an international standard. And that will be subject to a lot of review, a lot of approval processes. The key thing in this one is by the time we get to that point, we have got views from industry, academia, as well as the standards people. So it should be a good broad understanding. So this, in a nutshell, is a huge project. The ambition has been to kick off the ISO part of the process in the second half of 2023. I think that's ambitious, but we're going to keep it as an objective. Deadlines are always really good motivators, as we know. But the key driver for me is to have the candidate framework entering the ISO process that firstly has been created and refined by industry, academics, as well as the standard bodies. Secondly, it represents a model that is useful and applicable to organizations of all types, all sizes, in all geographies and all economies as well. And it's a useful reference for those who just want to know how to get going, get start and just need to innovate, need to make the changes. I can't do this alone. I do have some hands-on and a lot of moral support from some really, really incredible people. As the Innovate Ireland steering group have backed me to the hilt on this. So Owen, Catherine, Alan, Brian, thank you. This isn't an acceptance speech, by the way. This is going to be fairly short. Ulster University, I have to call out. So Shirley Davey, Mike Brennan, as well as input from academics from other universities have had an input or will have an input into this. ISTIM is probably the biggest global innovation professional network, and Joanne, Magnus, Vilho's been to a number of these events before. They're actively supporting and running workshops already. And then Johan, Peter, Sean, Barry, many others from the ISO. And we're getting buy-in from government and the government agencies across the island of Ireland. Only in the island of Ireland at the moment, but we would like to get that from further afield. So we're representing all the views. So I'm certainly not in a position to assign any actions or next steps in this at the moment. Simply not there yet. But what I would ask for people to do is to allow me to send updates, calls to actions through emails and through a page on LinkedIn whenever I get that set up. So I've got two major asks from off the back of this quick overview. If you would like to get involved in any level, or you would simply like to track progress on it, then please register for updates. There's a QR code and a short URL there. So please register and then you'll be on the circulation list for it. Secondly, if you're aware of any grants, any funding, any other support that's available for an international collaborative project like this that is going to have a global impact, please let me know, because it's being run on a completely voluntary basis at the moment. The third, I did say two asks. It's a bit like Monty Python. Among my many asks are number three, please make other people aware of this. I am running other briefing sessions. This is just the first one. So if you think there anybody who should be aware of this program, potentially has input into it, please spread the message and let people know that it's happening. Come along to one of the briefing sessions and then get into that circulation for updates and requests for help.